Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we did. This is our third video today, and Red Eagle Politics did a video, and I'm going to do a follow up because there's some stuff that I kind of agree with, and there's some stuff that I disagree with. He's essentially saying this is the Republicans' race. Joe Biden has so much against him right now. He has the economy going down. He has immigration, and of course, foreign affairs. So it's all going for Trump, he says. But I don't. I want to do like I said. I agree with Red Eagle Politics with that. Donald Trump has a overwhelming good chance in winning because of that. But we cannot deny that the GOP's historic polling failure, like getting people out early, voting in person in general, and in the end of the day, we unperform. And this is kind of my prediction using logic on what if the polls are wrong on election day and it actually goes accordingly between Trump and Biden. So we're going to go ahead and call the states that are going to be guaranteed for Trump and Biden. That includes the states that have voted for Trump and Biden above above the 5% margin gap. So North Carolina tossed up. The second district will also be tossed up. Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. We can go ahead and call Colorado. And New Mexico, Montana, Idaho, Utah, Washington, Oregon, California, Alaska, and Hawaii. We have the second district. Perfect. So 124 votes in total that are tossed up. And then again, looking at this map, you'll see and notice that Joe Biden has a lead, but he's up to 225 electoral votes. This is according to the non-toss-up map. And we are going to be taking a look at mainly we're not looking at polls because we're excluding polls as a source, but we're using previous elections, turnout in the midterms, and special elections in general. This is if the polls are wrong. Now, starting off with Pennsylvania would go for Biden, no question about it, just because look at the voting or the election in Pennsylvania, mainly the United States Senate election. You'll see John Fetterman, who ultimately has been antagonized a lot. He went through a rough campaign, basically, with a lot of controversy, and he still managed to win by like, let's see, 5%, and it was astounding because I did not see Fetterman as a winnable character. I'm like, all right, this guy's clearly awkward and clearly controversial. He said some things that really triggered a lot of people. And then you have Mehmet Oz, who's a star and very popular on the news or on the media. I thought, yeah, I would definitely go for him. Then, as a result, the opposite happens. Instead, this election went for Fetterman. And Red Eagle says, oh, it's because of John Fetterman's Trump-like policies. Well, I can disagree with that. Maybe that's a little bit, but I would say he is a Clintonist, a more Clinton Democrat, because Pennsylvania, you bet it, is a Clinton Democrat state. But what was carried by Trump in 2016, that's because he won the Clinton Democrat vote. So voters that voted for Bill Clinton in both 1992 and 1996 probably voted for Fetterman, realistically, because he fit. He fell into that Clinton Democrat category. So yes, Pennsylvania goes for Biden. North Carolina goes for Trump, despite in 2020 Democrats winning the gubernatorial race along with the attorney general. They haven't seemed to win any races other than that. Supreme Court races, they really could. They did horrible in 2022. Republicans swept the Supreme Court races in the year that's supposed to be beneficiary for Democrats. So especially when it comes to abortion, they failed, and they never could. They never flipped a seat in the Supreme Court. Out and to today, not one Supreme Court justice, not one liberal Supreme Court justice is on the bench on the Supreme Court of North Carolina. So that's how bad the Democratic Party is when it comes to electing these Supreme Court justices. Really bad. So no doubt about it, we are giving North Carolina to Trump. Georgia goes to Trump. And reason being, Republicans had a pretty good election year in 2022. Yes, 2022 U.S. Senate election was not the best, mainly because of Herschel Walker and his campaign strategies. It's just, he was awkward. And then you have Raphael Warnock, who is painted as a pastor, a leader, and basically a shepherd, a flock herder, and all these. This attracted more, as you know, black voters, more Baptists to go out and vote for him, and there you go, blue Georgia. But other than that, the governor's race, including the governor's race, the treasurer, the auditor, I believe, and the races following that went not solid, but over 5% Republican. So that was mainly because low turnout for African Americans were in that election. And African Americans, what we're seeing right now, according to polls, they're not really going for Biden. And to be honest, this isn't a poll thing. This is just reality. The truth is, African Americans are not a fan of Biden. Period. And should they go and waste their time to vote for someone they don't like? Because Orange Man bad, to save democracy, the clickbait. So I'm sorry, it's not going to work. And that's what's going to probably lead to more voters and more higher turnout in North Carolina. And yes, Georgia, as I predicted, the Supreme Court race in Georgia this last week, even more inevitable that this state goes red in November. Florida goes red. As you know, this is Trump country. Everyone says how bad Florida is. All the liberals don't go to Florida. Well, if you don't go to Florida, you're essentially giving Republicans a landslide in Florida, and there you go. But they go to Florida anyway because they're NPCs, you know. That they tell us the propaganda. Don't go to Florida. Florida demonic, and then they go to Florida anyway. Well, they're NPCs. They do the exact opposite. But yes, Florida is solid Republican. Never won a race in, as you know, 2022. It was a bloodbath for Democrats. They lost so many seats, so many offices. Yeah, Florida's going for Trump, no doubt about it. We have the state of Michigan, and the state of Michigan is actually going for Biden. And reason being, well, it seems back then the issue of abortion really benefited Democrats. Okay, the issue of abortion benefited the Democratic Party as a whole, but it seems like abortion's not really the big deal. But I would expect, honestly, a higher turnout in this election, specifically due to the, as you know, the Israel-Hamas war and the Muslim population, of course, African Americans. We have people in the industrial on the Rust Belt. So yeah, there's of course that, but it's kind of hard to say. I might switch Pennsylvania. I don't know. Because now I'm thinking of it, black vote will also influence Pennsylvania turnout. I don't know. But let's kind of switch it around. Because a lot has changed since the midterms. I don't know. But I would personally think this is the kind of the swing state sort of thing. Sort of deal. I think this is what we're looking for. I'm switching Pennsylvania because we still have that Israel-Hamas war. That's still going to lose votes. You got to remember 2016, and Democrats hate remembering 2016, but it's true. It is true because as you know, 2016 there was so much battleground. There was so much third parties and divisions. This race, there's supposed to be more divisions. You have the East Palestine division. No, not East Palestine. The Free Palestine division. You have the diversity division. You have, of course, the Rust Belt division. And, of course, the Libertarian division. There's so much. But, yeah, I'm personally think it's going to go for tilting for Trump. But at the end of the day, I don't know. We're just going to keep it Democrat just because we started it. As you know, they have Detroit in those areas. Wisconsin is another state where Democrats did sort of well and Republicans did sort of well. But Democrats did win the upper hand in more bigger races. Well, sort of. Like in the the United States Senate election. I don't know if turnout was higher, but yes, 50.41% of the popular vote to Mandela Barnes's 49.41%. Compare this to the gubernatorial election. Those two elections is what's pretty important. The turnout when it comes to that. But yeah, they're 56.7% of the turnout. But this is hard. Well, I do know Wisconsin's keening left. That's based to the Chicago area. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Biden. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments also. We're giving the second district for Trump for Nebraska. We have Arizona and Nevada. Arizona with Maricopa's horrible voting system, and just that's why I'm pushing early vote in that county specifically. And the rapidly quick, fast growing population in Phoenix. It's probably keen to go blue. So, with that being said, Democrats win. Biden wins re-election. And this leads us with only Nevada. And Nevada, actually, voters in Nevada are kind of based. They actually sit down and think, hey, what's the situation like? So that's why it's so back and forth. And the economy is pretty much the number one issue for Nevadan voters. So they go and say, you know what? Is the economy seems to be in my best interests. I'm going to go ahead and vote for Republican, or I'm going to go ahead and vote Democrat. But I do have a feeling that Nevada is definitely going to go for Trump if the polls happen to be wrong. And here we go. This is if the polls are wrong, Democrats have a chance of winning. But do I think the polls are going to be wrong? I'm going to say it. No, I don't. Basically, because the polls are fitting in with the demographics, and we are actually seeing the polls like it makes sense, because going out in the community, you see the rapid support Trump has. Wow, I mean, that makes sense that Trump has a 0.% ahead over Biden, because we see the momentum. He got 25,000 people in the Bronx supporting him. 25,000. That is not normal for a New York rally. You got 100,000 in the coast of New Jersey. Actually, yeah, the coast of New Jersey in Cape May County. That's not 100,000. How many people are going out for Biden's rallies? Listen, very little people are going to sit there and say, oh, they like only MSNBC and CNN, ABC go on this democracy rant. I don't think other news networks, they're going to do that, but they're making themselves look stupid. Stupid. Because when Trump takes office, he can't assume the role as a dictator. Because guess what? He won't. And even if he tried, Congress has all the power. Congress can easily call the troops in to arrest him. So I'm sorry, guys. Oh, what if he refuses to leave? No, he left in 2020. He left in 2020 after the certification of the election results. He left. They threatened him with the police and knocked on his door. Never once. He left. So this is bogusness. So yes, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. This was the results I was kind of predicting back in July of 2023. I did believe that in 2023 that Trump was going to lose. And I hate to admit it. It's a shameful on my part. I opposed Donald Trump's running for president, because I didn't think he could win due to the criminal indictments, the insurrection, and I supported DeSantis. I'm so glad that I ended up opening my eyes in November and saying, hey, wait, this is not Trump's fault. It's Ronna McDaniel's fault. It's the establishment's fault. So, and I'm seeing Ron DeSantis, and I'm like, okay, I can't. And I was kind of losing faith with him over time. But I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go for Trump. I'm not voting for Haley. I never liked Haley. But DeSantis, I felt like rewarding his governorship. I admired what he did for Florida, protecting kids and their eyes and parents' rights. And they're basically shielding them from this woke garbage, the sexual nudist propaganda that they're being shoved in the eyes of kindergartners. This is a direct assault, and I felt very passionate and very warm when DeSantis stood up against that and signed legislation actually um, tackling that instead of doing lip service, which a lot of Republicans do. Ron DeSantis actually slammed it down, and I admired that. I felt like rewarding that, but at the same time, I want to vote for someone that's actually going to win. Okay, I'm not going, and it seems Donald Trump's the only guy we got because Ron DeSantis got the nomination. The Republican base wouldn't vote for him. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Many people said they would go and vote for RFK Jr. That's how keen they were. They wouldn't vote for Ron DeSantis. They would treat him like a Democrat. And to be honest with you, I would have voted for him because I'm not that hard-lined. That's my opinion. But in the end of the day, Trump's the nominee. This is Donald Trump's party, and that's it. We gotta accept it as a positive thing, not a negative thing like the woke media establishment wants us to think. This is Donald Trump's party. This is MAGA party. And then again, the woke establishment wants to take us down. We cannot reward the woke establishment with votes. So anyway, what do you guys think? Anyway, let me know down in the comments. And as always, see you all in the next political episode.